What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes are back with another MMA superstar. This time it's Kevin Lee, who's going to be headlining Eagle FC 46 March 11th versus Diego Sanchez. The FLX cast has you covered. It's free. Check it out. Go to eaglefc.com for more information. What up, Kaylee? How are you?
Yes, sir. Ski. What's going on? Good to talk to y'all again,
you?
man. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've been on talking with you guys.
Yeah. So, Kevin, you moved to Florida to train at Sanford. Is this just for the camp, or you now live in Florida?
I now live in Florida. The camp helps. You know, the fighting career is always obviously first in my mind, but it was more for a personal life kind of change too. You know, I had been in Vegas for 7 years at this point, and it just felt like it was time for a change of scenery. It's time for just a change of life. And it's been nice down here in Florida already. I've been here for a month so far, still getting the place together, but so far so good.
And give us the pros and cons of living in Florida versus Nevada.
The pros is the weather. The weather's way better. You know, Nevada don't really see too much cold, but it's just not the same. You got the weather, you got the ocean. The people cool too. I give it to them. You know, sometimes the people in Nevada can be a little debaucherous. You know, we can be after some bullshit sometimes. So you kind of get over that. The cons is a lot of bugs, a lot of traffic, and it's a lot of people. So you got to get used to that.
Oh wow! What kind of bugs?
Gnats, flies, mosquitoes. The mosquitoes is big. They tearing my ass up. They feel like, you know, I'm fresh meat down here, so they tearing my ass up.
Yeah, man. When I went to California this past summer, my legs got torn up a lot. I mean, I had to start wearing sweats or jeans more than shorts, and I don't like to.
Yep.
And longer socks, because the ones that go for that ankle area, man, they fuck you up.
Yeah.
And I even started looking into them. I think some of them might have been West Nile. I don't know, man. But LA got hit hard. So I know exactly what you're going to. It deterred me from going back as often as I did.
Yeah. I mean, there's some perks of living in the desert. There's some perks. There's some cons, but there's some perks. I feel like you kind of get that anywhere, right? Anywhere you at, it's kind of got some good and bad things about it. There's a lot of things I miss about Vegas. You know, I met a lot of good people over them last years that I was there. So I miss a lot about it. But I'm excited about this new little chapter I'm going on.
And so now trips to Montreal are done, and the Vegas coaching, that circuit, that's done. Sanford MMA is the new team full time.
Sanford MMA is the team full time, but obviously I'm still going to use Dewey Cooper. He was one of two people that I always said I'll always have in my corner no matter what. So he'll still come down constantly. I envision that I'll come back to Vegas and still train a little bit here and there. You know, you never know. I still got people that live there. My parents still live there. My brother still lives there. So whenever I'm visiting, I can go back and Eric kind of gave me his blessing to come here and train with Henry Hoof. They have a real good relationship between each other. So the relationship ain't just squashed and done with. It's just kind of being added on to. My team is just being added on to.
Okay. And but so Montreal's still a home as well then. Everything's still good with Coach Zahabi and that team, the TriStar team.
Yeah, Firas will still be in my corner too. I haven't trained with up there in a while since this whole COVID thing went down. You know, my last training camp with him was getting ready for Charles Oliveira when I fought him. So I'm kind of excited. Maybe one day I'll be able to go back up there and get another training camp in. But right now I'm going to get my feet wet and make everything solid at Sanford. At least my next 3-4 training camps I'll be here down in Florida.
I know asking fighters for tactical stuff is just something where it's hit and miss because you don't want to give away strategy.
But you know me though.
Yeah, Sid, give us an example of something where you're like, oh, shit. Okay, like something that you really feel happy about since training at Sanford, whether it's just a certain training partner, techniques that you learn. What can you share?
There's a lot more wrestling. There's a lot more like old school kind of wrestling that I missed from college type of days. there's a lot of wrestling at Extreme, obviously, and some of the best grapplers in the world. But the vibe is a little bit different when you got like that team wrestling type of aspect to it. So it's a lot more of that. I feel like that'll kind of reawaken some things up in me. And then the striking is a little more relaxed. Like I've always been a hard hitter, and I've always been known to push myself past the limit. But I think in order for me to take my game to the next level, I got to learn to relax a little bit up in there, especially during the striking. I can get kind of knockout happy sometimes, and that comes back to bite you.
Kevin, what would you say this chapter of your life is about? Is it more about proving something to yourself, this new organization, previous employers? What kind of is your drive at this moment?
It's about more just being focused on the direction that I want my life to go. In kind of seeking what real success would be for me. And that encompasses everything, that encompasses fighting, but outside the cage too, like my goal has always been to make a lot of money. So that's kind of still at the forefront. But now I realize that there's many ways to get that done. There's many ways to skin that cat. So right now is going to be, if I can get everything in life together, then the fighting thing is going to be easy. So I say them are my goals for sure.
What's the best part of 165? Something that you have always wanted. You've always brought that up. Now you get it. How does your body feel, and what's the best part of that?
The best part is getting to make history. Getting to be able to be the one to pioneer this division. I think it's going to be something that we can look back on and say like, oh, okay, this is where it all started. It kind of started, the rumblings kind of started in 2017 when we started talking about it first. And it took us 5-6 years to actually do it. And I think it'll be another 3-4 years before it's really implemented. It's like the time before when there was no 155, there was no 145, there was no 35. And now you're seeing all these things starting to implement. So to be on the forefront of the 165, it gives me a little more drive in order to get it done. It's one thing to be a UFC lightweight champ, right? And you can be the greatest and all that. But one thing I notice is no matter how good you are, like George St. Pierre is the greatest of all time, right? It's really hard to dispute that. But as soon as somebody like Kamaru Usman starts winning a couple fights, all of a sudden they write all that off anyway. So I feel like this is going to be something that really sets me apart from just your average UFC champion.
Kevin, this run here with Eagle FC right now, we don't really know too much about what's going on there as far as belts and all that. This is interesting, the weight division, but that kind of puts you in a different frame of mind. I'm sure you're happy with your contract and all that. So at the end of the day, I know you kind of explained your drive, but is it a different feeling not having to worry about rankings, belts, all that stuff? It's just kind of you going in there and doing your thing?
Nah, I'm still worried about that. I'm not going to lie. That's the competitor in me. Like that's one of the drives that brought me over to here to Sanford too. It's whenever I step into a room and I kind of like the competitor in me just automatically focus on, okay, who's the best guy in here? Like, okay, let me catch up to his level. Let me surpass his level. Let me get up there. So it's the same thing with this Eagle FC. There are a lot of people out here, and I think we've kind of already known this, especially the people that really in the sport, that really do it, not just the casuals that kind of come and go as they please. We know that the best fighters aren't always in the UFC. There's some guys out in Russia that will beat the fuck out of you. So I gotta, my competitiveness in me just drives me to be even better than them. And that's just a never ending process. It's not like, oh, okay, now I can chill. Now I'm making a bunch of money. Now I can, go out there and just have fun. Like, nah, it's a fight. It's a fight for your life. At the end of the day, like people lose their life doing this type of shit. So, the competitor in me is still up there and still driving. I'm making a bunch of money though. That part I'm not upset about. My contract will make more than most UFC champions see. So that part's kind of nice. But the competitor in me still thinks this is the same game.
So Eagle FC comes strong, huh?
Oh yeah, baby. Yeah, I'm gonna make more than UFC champions in my first fight. So we having fun. We
Shout
having
out
fun.
to Eagle FC. All right, that's cool to hear. Was PFL, Bellator, One, or any other organization? Were they on the recruiting trail? Did you go to them, or did Eagle FC come so strong that it was just them after your tenure with the UFC was over?
No, everybody kind of had a say in it. You know, I definitely tested out my value. You know, and you got to go to these multiple people. So I went to PFL, seeing what they was talking about, see what numbers they was putting up. They made some good offers. But PFL, you got to do a lot of fights. Like let's be honest here. I've always dreamed of being in one. One will be fun one day. I've always wanted to fight in Asia for some reason. You know, Kevin Lee. That just for some reason it seems like that fits in the Asian market, and I just fuck with it. So that'll be one day. But you know, I'm not ready to move to Asia. You know, when this came about, and I kind of already had been looking to move to Florida anyway, it just made more sense. So it wasn't even just from a dollar standpoint; it was everything else that was surrounding the situation.
I heard an interview that you did where you felt like you may have gotten caught up in the whole UFC Francis drama. And I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you, since then, when Dana White was asked about that, apparently they had dinner. Francis went to, or is maybe still in Africa, and they were going to maybe resume talking and I guess making that relationship better. Would that also, if you were part of the bad, would that also mean you're part of the good as well? What are your thoughts there, or what have you heard maybe?
I think that's going to be a situation that I'm always going to be tied into, regardless of how it goes, whether good or bad, as far as their relationship goes. But there's no doubt that I'm tied into it. So I'm paying close attention to it. I'm hearing some background noise about it. Honestly, at this point, it doesn't really. There's not much say I have into it. You know. I can just hope eventually we all do what we're supposed to do and all at some point get a union going or all of us team up in some way or another so that this doesn't continuously keep happening to people. Because I'm not the first person this type of thing has happened to. I damn sure won't be the last. And we'll see how this whole Francis situation plays out and what I can get from it. I will say that I'm glad that I still stuck by him though. Like, people was telling me months before it happened, months before they decided to release me, that this type of shit was going on, and I doubled down on it. I doubled down on my support for Francis and him making what he deserves to make as a UFC champion. I felt like that would have helped everybody, and I stand by that. And I ended up being a casualty to that, but we'll see how that whole thing plays out.
The next question is one I always strike out with. I'll ask fighters, you want one of those slobber knockers that everybody's talking about on a Monday, ESPN and Fight of the Year? And then they'll say, no, man, I want to get in there with the least amount of damage, knock some fool out, grab a bag and go home. Then you say, hey, man, you want to go out there and just light them up? And then somebody will go, no, man, I want to break them over 15 minutes. So I always strike out, and that's why I ask it. What version of Diego do you want? I mean, he's been in a lot of Fight of the Nights, Fight of the Years.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you want to go in there? Like, did you grow up as a kid going, man, I want to do that dance with him? Or is it the old, no, man, let's get rid of him and on to the next, grab a bag, go home?
Yeah, I mean, the best case scenario is always knock the dude out, walk out, get a bunch of money, go home, scot-free, face looking like how it is. But the crazy part in me, the craziness in me do want to have that kind of drag them out war. And the part of me that got something to prove, I feel like I got a chip on my shoulder even more now. Like the chip got way bigger. So there's a big part of me that want to prove that I can have a drag them, bloodied, knock them down, drag them out type of fight and keep going. So I feel like I wouldn't be mad if that's how it turned out. If that old Diego, if that 2006 Diego Sanchez showed up, then I'm gonna be here waiting for him. But as far as what I want, who don't want to make a bunch of money and leave? I mean, come on, let's be honest.
If we do the math, back when Diego was doing his thing, like you said, 2005, 2006, around that time. That puts you as a teenager.
Yeah.
What are your first memories of Diego or Tough One? Did you ever dream that you'd be in there with him? Like you would be on
No, I really didn't, to be honest with you. I never thought. I thought he'd be long gone by the time I got up there. I want to say Diego really stood out to me once he fought Gilbert Melendez. I'll never forget that fight.
Oh, yeah.
The shit was crazy. I think it was in Houston too at the time.
Yeah.
It was just crazy. And his comeback in the third round of that fight when he landed that uppercut, that's gonna be one of the moments that kind of always stand out to me. But I feel like I was still in college at the time of that fight, and I didn't never dream that I would be standing across from him. And it's gonna be kind of like a surreal moment. But I've been here many times. I'm young, but I've got a lot of experience in the game now. I'm kind of like a vet almost. I've fought people that I've never dreamed of fighting before, so I won't be encompassed by the moment. I'll just, when he's really bloody and digging into his soul and I kind of see through his eyes and see that this motherfucker really crazy, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's the Diego that I thought I knew.
You want the nightmare, not the dream, right?
Yeah. I want the full version. Like if we gonna do it, like let's do it. Let's get the full version. Let's have a Stephan Bonner, Forrest Griffin type of fight. This is gonna be Eagle FC's coming out party. So let's go ahead and do it.
There's guys like how you were in college that wrestled throughout the day at a meet, and then they get together, to watch some fights, and they're gonna say, "Man, I want to fight that guy one day." To you, the same way you thought that about Diego. So it'll be full circle, but that's the impact veterans have on younger fighters.
Yeah, when you say stuff like that, and I realize how many years I still got left in this, it's like, man, that's the motivation to keep going and keep getting better. Because I see some of these young dudes coming up and they're fucking good. So I got to stay even better in order to be better,
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. Well, listen, good luck with camp, whatever's left. And I really am excited about 165. I've trumpeted 165 for a long time. I really felt like it was a division, not just 165, Kevin Lee, 165 and 175.
Yeah, we got to mention that.
It needed to happen, and I'm glad these cats are putting it together. And I honestly, a lot of people don't like it when I say this, but I thought 170 should just be retired and we create 165 and 175. That way we just go every 10 pounds.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see this.
And it seems like Kamaru Usman is the right one to kind of end that on, If you're gonna end 170, it seems like now we at the right place to do that with. End it with Charles Oliveira. I think that he deserves that. I think he's the best 55er around right now. And end it with Kamaru Usman and keep going, That just makes sense to me.
When you saw Khabib, by the way, he's now the promoter. Did he remember the times? I remember you used to come to our studio and you used to think, I want to fight that guy one day.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'd be cordial and sometimes it'd be a little smack talk. But how has he treated you? Did he ever feel that from not just our interviews, but all the times he probably, talked about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's always been respect. Anytime I've seen him now, especially, it's respect, and that goes on both ends. Even when I was asking to fight him, I only asked to fight people that I truly respect, and that applies here. When we see each other now, it's respect. There's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of that tension there. That want to say something, get it off your chest, and he probably won't even say it in English to me. But it's at the end of the day, it is respect, and I feel like that's what I'm gonna gain out of this whole thing. This is it's a long game that we playing at this point. He's retired. He's not fighting anymore. So I'm not looking to fight him. I'm not interested in it. So if anything, I'm gonna look to gain his respect even more, and that'll come when he wraps that belt around my waist as the super lightweight champion now. He'll be the one to wrap that belt around my waist, and I can't wait for them to take that picture of Khabib, the greatest lightweight, wrapping that belt around me. That'll be one I hang up. Probably
Yeah,
hang it
that'll
up
be
over
really,
there.
really cool. That'll be
Hang it
really,
up
really
over there.
cool.
So, yeah, it'd be cool.
Damn it, I was gonna ask you. Oh yeah, when I wanted to study up on you and see what you've been up to,
Mhm.
you only have 21 posts on Instagram.
Yeah.
Was that just a mental, psychological thing where you're like, man, I just want to get rid of my past? Because some are older
Yeah.
stuff. What? How do you explain? I guess that maybe.
Yeah, it's funny that you noticed that even. Yeah, it's kind of was that. It's letting the go of some old shit. You know, I feel like as fighters, sometimes we can get caught up too much in what happened, and you can kind of start to relive those moments sometimes. And this is fighting. It's a lot of traumatic shit. So sometimes you gotta let that shit go, let that past go, and then move on to what can you do for me now. You know that's the sport that we in. That's the life that we in. Is what are you doing now? So a lot of that was kind of letting some shit go. There's some stuff that I'll hold on to that I kind of like, and I archive a lot of stuff, and one day we'll bring it out the archive. But as far as restarting over, I feel like that's a necessary thing. Will I ever make a reappearance on social media? I have no fucking idea. I don't see the point of it right now. Yeah, I ain't been seeing the point of doing social media or anything like that. Maybe one day I will eventually, but I hope I will for the people that really care about me and really want to see me keep up to date with. It's hard keeping up with people on text message. That's all I've been doing these last couple months. And I'll be honest, that shit gets hard sometimes. Like there's so many people that you gotta talk to on a that I care about on a regular basis. That shit can get kind of hard. I see the point of social media sometimes, but I just don't want to do it.
I guess we'll just have to create a new picture of you visiting the studio at Mandalay Bay.
Nah, that's happening. We gonna get up in there before the summertime's over. Before the summertime, I'm coming back to Vegas, and I need to come to Mandalay Bay.
Yeah, because we used to do this for 2 hours. We cover everything, remember?
Yeah, we got to. I asked Goes like a little bit ago. He gave me the snub. I was like, oh man. I was like, man, it's been a minute, huh? It's been a minute. They act like they don't know
remember
nobody.
You shared that story about in Detroit and just the tough upbringing that you had and your neighborhood. That was fascinating to me, man, that you opened up that much. And then at the same time, I'm sure you know this. Mm-hmm. When you say that and people see you fight, for that UFC title versus Ferguson and those awesome wins, the knockout over Gillespie and Barbosa and all that, it triggers something with not just African American youth, but anybody that may have grown up in a poor community or whatever, white, Hispanic, whatever. And I'm sure that now that gives them a chance to believe, man, I can do it too. I don't have to get mixed up in this. It's so true. And I got that type of response from our listeners about when you were on there sharing that.
Yeah. So I got to get back and we continue the story on. I think that's also important. Sometimes you get to it like, okay, you made it out the hood and now you just made it, and then it's all like a fairy tale life. Like that part ain't necessarily true either. There's a lot of ups and downs that keep going through life. But I feel like, our upbringing and how we've been able to rise up out of nothing and people holding you down kind of continues on even through adulthood. And as you keep going and you're like, oh, there's other levels that I can push. A broke mentality is very deep. It goes very deep. So as we keep just continue the story on it, it's like I feel like as long as I can be open about these things, then maybe one day I will change. Like the guy you said that is watching with his wrestling team, and then he doesn't know which direction he wants to go. I don't know. Maybe I could change one dude. I don't know. But you always gonna get authentically me. So let's do another 2 hours for sure, and we gonna have a lot more stories to tell.
Yeah, I always use your quote: "If you ain't got haters, you ain't popping." I learned a lot from you, and I'm older than you. So you've motivated the younger guys and you've motivated older guys in different ways. Anyway, not to get too sappy and all that. We miss you. We hope to see you soon. Go out there and have fun on March 11th against Diego Sanchez at Eagle FC 46, and we'll see you this summer sometime.
3 weeks, baby. So it's buckled down time. I'm getting after it.
Take care, Kaylee. Talk to you soon.
Thanks.